Hello, back.
Hiya.
I missed you.
Oh God. Okay.
Hey, how you doing, friend?
All right. All right.
Right on. I love your background there, by the way. Like that
Oh,
football
thanks.
pineapple-looking thing.
Yeah, I got a bunch of scars at my work, and I just cut them open and put them all over my room. That's one of them.
Word.
Yeah.
There's like a setup of lanterns and stuff back there too.
Yeah. Those are like little lanterns, and then I have my like little lights there, and an avocado.
Avocado.
Yeah, a little avocado flashlight. This guy. Are
Oh my God, Luca has the same one.
you serious?
Yeah, yeah, and they bring it to the meetings all the time.
Oh, that's so cute.
Sorry, not the exact same one. Very, very similar.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Think anyone else would join today?
Well, I hope so. I've
Mm-hmm.
tried to reach out individually to people to see if they can come back into the thing.
Yeah,
Maybe I've just picked the wrong time of day or whatever.
maybe.
I can't really be more flexible with it. Um, Besides maybe doing Monday nights too, but I don't know. We'll see.
Hmm. I can't stop listening to Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath now.
Oh my God, it's so good.
It's so creepy, dude. I love it.
Yeah, to be able to encase that emotion before anybody else was able to do it, and then for a record label to actually like go, you know what? There's something here. You know,
My sister really liked it too, actually.
awesome.
Yeah.
And were you on the War Pigs recording?
No, I wasn't there for that, but Sarah was.
Yeah,
She did
Sarah was.
vocals.
Yeah. Sorry, that's from the before times when my memory's a little foggy. But yeah,
Yeah.
so that's Black Sabbath too. That was their next album.
Yeah. Hang on, I'll be right back. Hang on a sec.
Yeah, take your time.
Okay. I'm back. Oh,
Right on.
my sister bought me men's cologne. I'm so happy.
Wait, what kind is it? Oh, sorry,
Brit- British Sterling. Ah,
British Sterling. Him.
I love it. I love men's cologne. Mm.
Coincidentally, me too.
I wonder why.
It's kind of a. Uh, I'm not sure if you knew this about me, but like I follow British football
Oh,
like
yeah. Well,
religiously.
I mean, you and Wafik are always talking about football.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a bit of a nut for it. I don't usually like organized sports of any kind.
Yeah.
Not for any ideological reason, but it's just like it's never really done anything for me. Like riders,
Yeah.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, I only wear men's cologne that is like endorsed by a professional footballer.
No way.
One of my vices.
That's funny.
I don't even know why. It's like I'll support David Beckham. Sure, I love David Beckham.
You're a hockey girl.
Oh yeah.
I used to want to be a female hockey player really bad.
Oh word. Who's your team?
Um, was it Montreal Canadiens.
Ah yes.
My dad and I would watch them all the time, so I stuck around.
I watched a lot of hockey as a kid. Played a lot of mini sticks, but I was I always kind of like watch these like young people, like people my age, like putting blades on their feet and then boxing gloves and carrying a spear and like what is
Wow.
he doing? That's hockey. It's ice fighting.
Yeah, no, it's true.
It's. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm saying I don't get it. I really
Yeah,
don't. Organized
there's.
sports, of course, because like everybody get together. It's kind of the same sort of thing as band. It's like
Yeah,
everybody work on their skill set, and then we come together for the concert or the game, and then we see how it's going. Difference is that music is not competitive. It's
yeah,
internally competitive, but it's not like I'm trying to be better than you. Ugh.
yeah,
I
yeah.
never,
You're right.
I know, never got it.
There.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait one more minute and send some things.
Okay.
And just like last time, I'm going to go through my list of stuff so that people who are not here can uh, uh, take in the information, and then we'll do a bit of a sharing session afterwards.
Cool.
Full disclosure: I am exhausted.
Me too.
Yeah, so let's be empathetic to each other at that end then. Okay, sending a couple messages, and I'm just gonna go. Oh shoot! I was hoping Nicole was going to come because there was a bit of an Iceland theme to um, one of the artists. It
Hmm.
looks like she's working, and Emmanuel is offline, and Luke is at Circle of Voices. So is Billy. So is Lydia, and nobody else is online. Okay, well,
Here you go
looks
again.
like it's the only cool kids. Okay, so I won't waste time reviewing what we talked about last time to any in-depth thing for people who didn't hear it last time. But you mentioned Judas Priest,
Yeah.
right? So do you know anything about that band outside of like their name has some kind of like cultural cachet and it's kind of in our zeitgeist?
Well, I have a really awesome song that I like, but
Oh, what?
not
Which
really.
one?
I don't know a lot. I like Turbo Lover.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I can't play that
what
one,
can I say?
but yeah, that's a good tune. Um, so I like that you listed this as an example um, because the name Judas Priest is pretty much the same name as Black Sabbath. It has the same energy. It references the same kind of biblical, like holy days and holy things. Priest, but or sorry, holy like ranks in the church and kind of like corrupting it and taking it and twisting it. Not unlike many religious establishments where things become twisted and corrupted over time, and for that matter, political establishments and economic establishments and so forth. Kind of a commentary on how the human race has a notable track record of taking a good idea and kind of wrecking it.
Oh yeah.
Um, So the tune I wanted to share with you from Judas Priest is one that deals with spooky themes and otherwise kind of like underworld, underbelly stuff, kind of like from the. Oh, well, I'm not sure. Did you see the first video?
What first video?
It was the last meeting that we were in was part 2. Part 1 was before that.
Oh no, I didn't see it yet.
Okay, so I'll just do a very short recap. We shared a video about this metal tune that dealt with the experience of prisoners in Alcatraz Island. Are you familiar with Alcatraz?
Yeah, oh, I love that story, the escape story.
Yeah, so it was about that. It was like how you're supposed to like watch the formation of the waves and be able to jump into the ocean and not die, and then swim safely to shore and stuff like that. Anyway, so themes like that, like themes of human suffering and how it's sort of universal. And further into the occult, the tune I'm going to play you from Judas Priest is a tune called "The Ripper," which is a direct reference to Jack the Ripper. So what this song really does is give a warning to people who are walking alone at night. And if you're familiar with the sort of true crime story of Jack the Ripper, it was basically this guy who, or maybe it was a girl, I don't know. Either way, it was an evil person who would build a relationship with vulnerable people and then lure them physically into the darkness and stab them. And this was like an unsolved mystery, an unsolved murder case for like decades and decades and decades. And it's only still presumptively solved, but either way, the person is long dead, like middle of the, sort of like Middle Ages in London. I'm going to show you the lyrics first. And how cool is it that like one of the first songs that this metal band records is like a historical account of the mystery of Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
Is this the first time you're hearing about Jack the Ripper?
Oh no.
Okay.
No, I'm into a lot of true crime.
Okay, so maybe I won't even show you the lyrics, but it's basically this metal band who takes this song and that's Judas Priest. I mean, I'm assuming that you haven't heard the song. Yes?
Nope.
Okay. Here we go. Let's first talk about the artwork. Ooh, whoops. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button on the share.
Okay.
Share screen, new thing, share the sound. There we go. So that's kind of sort of similar to Black Sabbath, right? Really extreme, kind of haunting imagery. There's like an angel that's being destroyed by sort of like the forces of hell, and they're wearing like a crucifix, and it's got like arcane fonts and stuff. For the late 60s, this is pretty like out there.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so this definitely meets all 3 categories. 1, it's difficult to play. Listen to the vocals, it's insane. 2, a connection to the occult, Judas Priest. And 3 is not supposed to be in the realm of I'm trying to sell this and be popular. It's supposed to be art for the sake of itself. Definitely meets all 3 of those categories. Here we go.
You're in for surprise. You're in for a shock. In London town streets, when there's darkness and fire, when you least expect me, and you turn your back, I'll attack. I smile when I'm sneaking through shadows by the wall. I laugh when I'm creeping, but you won't hear me at all. Turn your back on the Ripper. You'll soon shake with fear, and never knowing if I'm near. I'm sly and I'm shameless, nocturnal and nameless. Except for the
I made this song in 2 minutes using my MIDI pad.
I don't care, Nick. Sorry. So, what do you think?
Melody wise, maybe kind of mad.
Yeah, okay. Go on.
All over the place, and there wasn't like a solid like melody. It was kind of hard to get into.
Yeah, it was definitely more about the lyrics than it is about the melody.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. This is like one of those songs that like our band program will probably never cover because it's like, oh, how do you even get close to
Yeah.
what would be the point? Anyway, that aside, the reason I wanted to bring up Judas Priest is that the idea of metal is not just an idea of let's make uncomfortable music for the sake of making uncomfortable music. Like people have been doing that for a long time. But it's more about the attitude and the convictions of the individual who are delivering the art form. In this particular case, this band stands out, even though musically they're not really, it's not even quite, it definitely fits the categories of metal, but it's still like hard rock, you know?
Yeah.
It's not really that like brutal or assaulting to the ears. It doesn't really have that, but you gotta start somewhere. And the reason that this band stands out is that their singer, Rob Halford, came out of the closet as gay in the mid 80s.
I didn't know that.
So if there's anything more metal than coming out of the closet at a time during an epidemic virus, that being AIDS, HIV,
Oh yeah.
was kind of like shadowing over the LGBTQ community's like overall identity and calling into question like the ethics and morality of just existing for some people. For him to go, hey, by the way, I'm one of the most brutal singers out there. I sing about crazy stuff. I've named my band Judas Priest. We do world tours. We make millions of dollars. By the way, I'm gay. That is metal. Like having the courage to go like in the face of this adversity, I'm going to stand up and do what's right for my tribe. Even if that means like the destruction of my band, it means the destruction of my livelihood, my voice and my story is more powerful and more important than all of that. He gambled and won on that and paved the way for a lot of other people to do the same. And it's interesting because it kind of it at the time in the mid 80s flipped the script on what the gay identity was, because in the 80s,
Yeah, I think it was also in the 80s where Freddie Mercury came out as gay as well.
Freddie Mercury didn't, to my knowledge, actually publicly do anything.
Right, yeah. It was just his bandmates.
Yeah. Well, that and when you have somebody that famous and have that such global like reach, it wasn't like he didn't have to and was probably discouraged from doing so because there was so much money attached to it.
Yeah.
So I need to research that one more because I'm not really well versed enough on Queen, although I love that band to death.
Me too.
To really know. But the difference between Rob Halford. Have you ever seen a picture of Rob Halford before?
I think I saw him in a music video once, but I'm not sure what he looks like.
So he's still alive, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I have to find like an appropriate picture from the 80s because it's important to contextualize it based on the time. Please don't take me to. No, I'm not interested in that. Come on. You know what? This will do. So this is Rob Halford in the 80s. This one too, and this one. This does not look like your stereotypically gay male from the 1980s, nor should anybody, for that matter. But at the time, the general public perception was, well, the homosexual community is the village people. We dress flamboyantly, we speak a certain way, and we act a certain way, and so forth. Rob Halford was like, no, I dress in black leather, and I am extremely masculine.
Mm-hmm.
I have a giant beard, and I'm muscular, and I sing in a metal band, and I make millions of dollars. And for him to go like, but I'm gay, that kind of, it's like, oh, wait a second, this is not a stereotype. This is a human being. Anyway, I don't need to describe that to you. I already knew that you knew. Just for the video, this is an important point to make, that the metal community is also indebted to Rob Halford for being an inclusive, supportive community, and not just like as sort of like the public seems to think of it as a, well, you're all worshiping Satan and human sacrifice, and like, come on, really, that's not reality. It's one of the most supportive and inclusive communities I've ever had the pleasure to be a part of as a musician. Okay. Anything else you want to add about Judas Priest, Rob Halford, and stuff before we move to Iron Maiden?
Ooh. No, I think I'm good.
Okay. So, what's an Iron Maiden?
It's a torture device they used way back in the day with spikes in it, and you go inside and it closes on you, and you just dead.
Yeah, the idea of these things.
Terrifying.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen one before. I don't need to necessarily share an image, but maybe just for the video, an Iron Maiden was basically an upright sarcophagus that somebody was imprisoned in. That would be some kind of a torture device. Now, obviously terrible and ridiculous, and why are human beings even making these things? Like, they definitely existed to a little bit, but the interesting thing about them is, so by the way, the band is named after this device, but not for the idea of being like, we're a band about torture. The idea was that this was an idea that human beings invented and then never actually followed through with. Where is it here?
Really?
Oh, shoot, where is it? Despite its reputation as a medieval instrument of torture, there is no evidence of the existence of Iron Maidens before the early 19th century. There are, however, ancient reports in the before times. I don't know enough about that to really comment or fact check it, but the idea that they were commonly used in the Middle Ages, like as like when like metallurgy was possible, to being used as a torture device, there's actually no evidence of that.
It's kind of odd.
Yeah. No, I can't confirm or deny that in any way, but it's interesting to note that this terribly awful thing that's basically an upright sarcophagus with spikes in it, you get locked in it, and then you just go in there until you're done, and then they take you out, and then who has to clean it? And, it's a terribly metal idea. But the fact that like people thought this up, and then like actually we didn't evidently use it at all, is kind of the idea behind the band name, where we're trying to share with you the ideas of the darkness of the human race, without actually committing those acts of darkness. And it's like, by the way, there's a lot of evil in a lot of us, and make sure you keep it in check, and that's everybody's individual responsibility. So, Iron Maiden songs. Mid 80s, early 90s, they're still kind of going, but certainly not to the level that they were in their heyday, so to speak. Terribly important band, fronted by an incredible human being, which I want to talk about later. Back to the connection of how individuals can be within their own decisions and life trajectory role models for being extreme in good ways. What do you know about this band, Iron Maiden?
Well, my dad likes them. My sister, her favorite song in grade 5 was "Wasted Years."
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah. I know there's a little mascot named Eddie. He's not really easy on the eyes, but the art is amazing. And yeah, I don't really know a whole lot though. That's yeah.
Okay, so this was a band that was directly inspired by Black Sabbath. Obviously, has like a name that, although most people misinterpret it as like we're going to torture you with sound, to be more like a let's talk about like the darkness of human society and make sure we all keep it in check. I was directly influenced by Black Sabbath, and the content of their songs was kind of like The Ripper, where they went back into historical accounts of like the darkness that human beings have committed, and tried to like tell history with a backdrop of dark, abrasive sounds, as opposed to just reading it in a textbook. Whereas like you can read about atrocities on a page and it's kind of like, okay, so these are just words and they're not really doing anything. But if you accompany it with like really aggressive sound, maybe the message will hit home. So I'm going to share one song from Iron Maiden with you, and then talk about the singer from Iron Maiden, who is one of the most incredible human beings to have ever lived, in my opinion. Next to you, of course. And then what was I going to do next? I don't know. Well, let's go on with this. Okay, so I'm going to share with you. Do you know the song "Run to the Hills"?
Oh my gosh, that is in my head right now. It's like been in my head. That's so weird.
Good, I'm glad. That's
I
Iron Maiden.
thought it might have been them, and I was like, is that them? Yeah, definitely them. I was just belting that in the car with my sister last week.
So what's that song about?
I can't remember the verses, but I feel like I knew when I was listening to it. Like someone running for their life. I don't know what from.
So, do you remember a couple of weeks ago when I canceled the Zoom meeting because it was on the day of Truth and Reconciliation, and I just wasn't in a headspace to lead people through learning anything. Yeah. I learned a lot that day. I'm just starting my journey of being an ally to the First Nations community, and also being an educator trying to teach those things and put the truth before any kind of bias. I'm just starting. I'm an infant.
Yeah.
So the reason that I decided to take that evening off was because, one, I was in no place, but also on the way back from the retreat, Run to the Hills was on the radio, on CFCR, nonetheless, my favorite radio station. It's the only station I listen to. And I had to pull over and kind of like collect myself because I was like, this is too much. So I'm going to share with you the lyrics for Run to the Hills. And it's a song about the genocide that has been committed by colonial Europeans against the First Nations people.
Why would they play that?
Because it's CFCR, and there's pretty much I'm glad that they did, because at the moment, at the time, it was the most perfect thing for me to hear. Run to the Hills is not about people running for their lives, any people. It's about specifically First Nations people running for their lives. Here's the lyrics. White man came across the sea. He brought us pain and misery. He killed our tribes, killed our creed. He took our game for his own need. We fought him hard, we fought him well. Out on the plains, we gave him hell. Many came, too much for Cree. Oh, will we never ever be set free? Riding through the dust clouds and barren wastes, galloping hard on the plains, chasing the redskins. I'm just reading, I'm not saying I agree with that particular word. Back to their holes, fighting them at their own game. Murder for freedom, stab in the back. Women and children are cowards. Attack. Run to the hills. Run for your lives. And it continues on like this. Isn't that interesting? That a metal band from the 80s is singing about, in a way, truth and reconciliation.
Yeah.
But it's like, remember everybody, the reason that you've got a comfortable life over here is because you murdered and stole for it? That's a part of the darkness of human existence that needs to be addressed right quick and is going to take some time. So anyway, we're gonna listen to this thing. Definitely a more advanced form of metal than Judas Priest. Not saying it's a comparison, but these guys are deadly players, and the tone of the music really reflects the depth of the darkness of the concept.
Okay.
Also, the album cover.
It's Eddie, isn't it?
Pardon?
I think that's Eddie.
Eddie who?
Eddie the skeleton.
I don't know what you mean.
Their mascot.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
No,
Yeah.
it's okay.
So as you can see, quite clearly fitting the categories of metal. This goes right into the history books with one of the greatest album covers ever in the metal
The
community.
Number of the Beast.
Number of the Beast. That would be.
That's the thing. I know a little bit about that.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, this has nothing to do with the album. This is kind of like, hey, well, we know spooky stuff, and here's a spooky picture. Ha ha ha. Anyway, here we go. Which one?
Just the lyrics.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay.
Why not start with Estella in the life artois?
Oh, come on, don't show me your head.
White man came across the sea. He brought us pain and misery. He killed our tribes. He killed our creed. He took our game for his
Wow.
So that message wouldn't work too good as a country song there, would it? A ballad. That is some crazy stuff. Everybody thinks that song's about like, oh, there's zombies. And it's it's like no. This is about a real thing, and there's nothing more metal than reality. Reality is way more intense than fiction. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns before I move on to the next thing.
Well, I just remember sitting in the car listening to that, and I don't remember the verses like at all. All I can remember is the chorus for some reason. Like I never heard the verse before.
Yeah, isn't that an interesting thing? It's like, and perhaps that's a commentary upon like, was the songwriting actually effective? Because if the real part of the message was like, even in the first lyric, like white man came across the sea. It's like, how did people not hear that? Right?
Yeah.
I don't know, just a strange Mandela effect, perhaps, but
Yeah.
yeah. So the lead singer of this band and the composer of that song, Bruce Dickinson. I don't want to go too deep into this, but just wanted to provide you an example about like how people in the metal community tend to be not only forces of art, but forces of kind of like exemplar human beings by doing extreme things. And I'm standing as an example of like what a human being can be. So Bruce Dickinson, beyond being like one of the most renowned metal singers in all the history of that art form, is also a music therapist for special needs children.
Really?
Which is by far the most intense one out of all the things I'm on our list. 2 is a commercial airline pilot who deals with refugee evacuations and also does it for free. I'll share more about that in a second. He's an entrepreneur and a philanthropist. There was one particular tour that Iron Maiden did wherein there wasn't, I don't know all the details, there wasn't enough money to pay some of the road crew. So he just paid them with his own paycheck because the rest of the companies weren't willing to or able to like resolve it. So he said like, no, I'm not going to tie up your money in the legal system. It's like, forget it. The only reason I was able to do any of this was because of you folks at the bottom. Not at the bottom, in the support roles. So you can, dude, here's, I'm covering it for you. And please come back with us next time. Also, we're probably going to be changing promotional companies. One I wanted to focus on in particular was the airline pilot thing. So Bruce Dickinson, any name that has S-O-N at the end of it is Icelandic. Or maybe a Norwegian.
Oh, really?
Probably not Swedish, but anything S-O-N.
Cool.
So the way that the names work in Iceland is the given name to the person, one of their parents' names, usually the father, but not so much these days, and then their gender assigned at birth. So, for example, if you are Icelandic, what's your dad's name?
Sheldon.
Your name would be Rebecca Sheldon's daughter. My dad's name was Arthur. I would be Brett Arthurson.
Cool.
And Bruce, his dad's name was quite clearly Dickens or Richard. So his name is Bruce Richardson or Dickinson. Just for the note, Nicole, if you're watching this, when Icelanders emigrated, usually to like the Gimli area in Canada, they tended to follow the more common thing here of just like picking a last name. Her grandfather's last name was Gillison. Nicole, please correct me if I'm wrong. This has been 4 years since you told me this, and I might be wrong. But so now it's just Gillis because they just chopped it off and so forth.
How come you don't hear daughter as often though?
Okay, so you do in Iceland.
Oh,
If somebody was assigned female at birth, you have daughter at the end of their name, and it's all over the place.
Oh.
And, yeah, every female has daughter at the end of it.
wow.
But when you emigrate to a non-Icelandic country or every other country, you tend to follow the thing that you take the dad's last name because that's like how like the legal naming customs work, right?
Okay.
So you definitely don't see it as much, not nearly as much. But I'll show you, for example, Iceland women's football team roster. There we go. So this is the roster of the Icelandic women's football team.
Well, it's spelled like that. That's cool.
Yeah. Sara Björk, Gudnarsdóttir, Dagny Björnsdóttir, Elmette Jensen. Obviously, I don't know what happened there. It doesn't matter. Vikarsdóttir, Wilhelmsdóttir, so forth.
Cool. I like the way it's spelled too.
Yeah, yeah. all of them. And then if you see men's, Sigurdsson, Gudmundsson, Sigthorsson, Gunnarsson, Björnsson, Finnbogason. That's their dad's name, and then this is their name. So his kids will be named Jimmy Alfredsson, and so forth. Anyway, that's where Dickinson comes from. Anybody with the last name S-O-N is definitely Nordic, probably Icelandic, likely Norwegian, very unlikely Swedish, maybe Faroe Islands, but that's where that comes from. Anderson. That's actually was the founder of Iceland, one of the first settlers of that nation was Arneson. Anyway, so Dickinson is a very, although he was born in England, as his roots in Iceland, and he started a private airline where he would just fly people from Gimli, Manitoba, of which there are more Icelanders in Gimli than there are in Iceland, and just fly people back and forth for free so they could visit their homeland, because it was so tricky to actually get a flight to Iceland because nobody wanted to go there. And they he had the plane that they flew in. Where is it? I gotta find this. Well, I'll just show you the whole page. The plane that he flew was the Iron Maiden plane.
Cool.
That Ed Force One, it was called. Oh, there's the Ed, the mascot. Yeah. So here he is flying back and forth from Iceland, taking these old grandmas from their Canada to Iceland, like just flying it, like not by himself, but like of his own kind of like accord and design to back and forth. So there's all these grandmas boarding the skull plane to go back to Iceland. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Just like here I was just like, I'm a metal singer and I write songs and whatever, and also I'm going to fly metal boats across the ocean for free. That's fantastic. Awesome. There's an interview of him talking about this. I wanted to pull it up. And again, the connection here is not just being metal in your music, but extreme in your own life, doing extreme things, extreme acts of kindness, extreme acts of truth, etc. And this is, by the way, not a new thing. He's been doing it for decades. And oh yeah, so when they did international tours, he would play the show, and then like pack everything up on the plane, and then fly the plane to the next show. That's insanity.
Yeah.
It's hard enough being a singer. You could be like a commercial airline pilot too. Fly. Can't have to think. Anyway, here we go.
Have you ever wanted to fly like an eagle and touch the sun? You can. at least on this plane, Iron Maiden's Ed Force One. And it's best when it's flown by this guy, singer Bruce Dickinson.
Sadly, I can't afford my own airport and jumbo like John Travolta, so I thought I'm going to have to get a job. You know, it's 100 tons of big shiny aluminium tube with 2 huge great engines on it. Somebody's given you this for the day and said, take it out. You're actually flying along the line where the sun's rising or setting, and you can sort of go, down there, they're in night, and there, it's still daylight. I just think it's a huge privilege, and I never ever get tired of just pinching myself and going, that's pretty cool. You don't really have much time to stand there and go, wow, isn't this cool? Because you're just so busy. So we had some Starlight Make-A-Wish guy came up in one of the festivals in South America, and I took this kid up and I said, hey, stick your head out from behind the curtain and wave. So he put his head out, and all the audience saw this kid, and they went, yeah, and he got his fist and went, yeah, and the roar that went up, and you could just see it. He was overwhelmed.
That was one of the kids that he delivers music therapy to. One of the special needs kids that he delivers music therapy.
Oh.
What a beautiful story.
And I went, wow, that's just so cool to see that, you know. But I never get the chance to revel in it, because, you know, if I revel in it, people are going to look at me and go, what do we pay $100 for this ticket for? You know, just stop sitting there and goofing off. You know, get on with it, man. Things from what you might call the golden age of travel, the Victorian age of travel, that appeals to me a lot. Great railway trips, Trans-Siberian Express, the idea of getting on a steamer. Just a ship that goes slowly takes you to your destination, and therefore you figure out things to do. You know, you occupy your time with, I don't know, find out about birds, or, you know, it's almost a luxury now to be able to travel slowly. There's no time to waste. That's the other thing I remember, there is no time to waste. Yeah, but do you want another coffee?
How insane is this guy's life that he's like one of the most successful metal bands ever, singing about truth and reconciliation, and also is a commercial airline pilot that also is the pilot for the band that he fronts. That is extreme. That is a bananas human being. And that's not even mentioning the music therapy for special needs kids. So, take that fact and measure it against the general stigma against the metal community.
Yeah.
They're off base, man. They're not looking deep enough. They're looking at the surface, and it would serve all of us real well to not look at the image that someone presents and look into their heart and soul and their accomplishments and their core and their stories. And you'll see something much more beautiful than, you know, the number of the beast, so to speak. Anyway, that's kind of what this whole unit is all about. We're going to dig deeper into the, more modern examples of metal, but the bands that we've talked about, Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, and realize that they are we stand on the shoulders of titans. Those who challenged the industry and challenged the concept of looking beneath the surface and stuff, and hear what people are making in the modern day with that art form. I think that's all I had to share with those three things. Hold on, let me look at my notes here for a second. There might have been one more thing. Come on, go phone, go. Oh, yeah, this is one more thing, but I'll use that as a closer in a second. As you might have noticed, all of the examples of things that we've talked about so far today have been based on real events, like a serial killer, about a mass genocide or democide. And it's, I think, worth noting that all of this craziest stuff is actually reality. It kind of makes the Black Sabbath thing that we talked about not even compare, because it's fantasy. And like the real hardcore stuff is the things that are actually have happened. I think I said this before earlier in the meeting, that like reality is way more extreme than fantasy.
Yeah.
It's actually happening to real people. Anyway, sorry, I've been talking for a long time. What do you think of all this? Is that a lot to digest? Is that new information for you? What do you think? What do you have to say?
That's really interesting. Really cool. Yeah, I remember my dad telling me something about Iron Maiden and the lead singer and all the things he did, but I didn't really think about it till now. It's really, really neat.
He's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, he also owns a beer brewing company.
Oh my gosh.
Of which the ABV of the beers, the alcohol by volume, the alcohol percentage is 6.66.
That's funny.
It's like, yeah, we're gonna make a beer company. I'll lend the Iron Maiden name to it, but you have to make the ABV 6. How could you not take that opportunity?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a lot of heavy stuff all quick here. I'm going to let you go with one little piece of levity. Back to Judas Priest. Are you familiar with the Shreds videos? Okay, so the Shreds videos are this guy probably, I don't know, 12, 15 years ago, right when YouTube was starting to be a thing, where if you typed in name of famous musician and then Shreds, you would hope to come up with some kind of thing of like Eddie Vedder just shredding, playing real fast on the guitar. But what came up was this the video of these players, playing, but then overdubbed by this guy who would just try to mimic what was happening on the screen, just badly. And they're hilarious. So here's Judas Priest Shreds. I really hope you find this funny, because I find it to be hilarious.
Alrighty then.
That kills me. Boom, 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 boom. Anyway,
Like country guitar.
yeah, it's that like bluegrass almost sort of thing. As you can see, there's lots of these.
Yeah.
Roast shreds. Oh gosh. It's if you search any artist shreds, like you'll find it. Metallica shreds. Um, this is probably one of my more favorite ones. I think this is the one.
Do you have the time?
No, hold on. Is this the one? Maybe it's this one.
Why not start?
Oh, no. It's not Green Day. Oh, shoot, I can't find. Ah, wait, sorry. I'll stop wasting your time. But it's like Enter Sandman, but it's played in like a bossa nova style.
Oh my gosh.
If I could find it. Oh yeah. Here it is. I won't play the whole thing here, but. Anyway, it continues on like that. I love that guy. That's hilarious. Just taking the original idea and just making fun of it. And I think the important part to note is that the original bands listening to it would have a great sense of humor about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, take a lot of work to actually do that. Anyway, sorry. I think that's about it. Next time we're going to talk about some more modern examples of stuff, and then start farming ideas for what metal means to other people. Extreme examples of music stuff that you wouldn't find on the radio for sure, and sharing some dark stuff that's of course school appropriate, but still kind of like abrasive or challenging. And it being a safe space in which to share things that you think that other people might not like.
Okay.
That'll be next Tuesday. We're going to do 2 more sessions of these, and then that's it. We're going to move on to 2 more sessions.
How many weeks are left of this quarter? About 3, right?
This quarter, November 11th. No, that's Remembrance Day. Hold on. You know, this is something I should know offhand, but my brain is a little broken today. Okay, of course I have to sign into it. Last day of the quarter is November 5. So that means we have 1, 2, 3, 4.
4 weeks.
4 weeks, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so we're like 2/3 done class. Oops. And for music, it goes until, this class goes until like the end of January. So,
Okay.
and I'm assuming you're going to be a part of it all year. You're going to be
Yeah.
around. Yeah. I don't know how I do it without you. Please stay around. Okay. Sorry. That's it. Anything else to add here, or should we call it a night?
Good with me. Good.
Cool. I'll post this one a little later. I'm still editing the one from last time.
Okay.
Almost given up on, but maybe I'll just post the raw. I don't know. We'll see. That's it. Okay.
Okay. See you tomorrow.
See you in the morning.
Bye.